Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this walkthrough of the Wake Me Up Tarot. I am real stoked to get into this deck. I showed this on my recent deck roundup video in February, and I'm just really stoked to go card by card because this is a deck that I think is going to sit up there with decks like the Unfolding Path Tarot and the Lightseers Tarot and the This Might Hurt Tarot, sort of modern, relatable, that sort of thing. So I'm stoked to get into this. Now I've already put mine in a Peggy bag. This deck fits perfectly in one of her smalls, but it does come in this box. So it normally comes in this two-piece box. There's some thumb cutouts, but it does have this sort of cardboardy tray on the inside, and mine did tear when I got mine in. But this I ordered from Tavada Tarot. I will have a link to that down below so you can check it out yourself, assuming that it is still in stock. If it's not, maybe just reach out and ask if they are planning a restock, because I think I heard something about stock being low when I purchased this one. All right, so let's get into it. This is, I'm really stoked. First of all, let's talk cardstock real brief. So it is a really nice matte cardstock. It has some snap to it. It does have an ever so slight bow just out of the box, but I don't think that's anything that's going to be a problem for me. That is what the backings look like, and it is not rose petally. As I said, it's a snappy, smooth matte. Feels almost a little silky, but not that velvety, rubbery feeling. It does come with a guidebook that is in English. Yes, fully in English. The artist is Thai. There is a little bit of a snapshot here of the numbers, a little bit about the court cards. There's also a couple of spreads in here. And you get a little bit of information on each card, about a paragraph or so for the majors and for the minors. So pretty consistent all the way through with black and white thumbnail images and some keywords. So pretty solid guidebook. We will do a sample read from this at the end. But first, I just really want to talk about the cards. So let me zoom in just a bit. And we're going to go card by card through the deck. So this is I believe it's in the same order it came in, actually. Let me just double check. Yeah, so we go cups, then pentacles, then swords, then wands. That's just the order that the deck arrived in. All right, so we start off with the Fool. This is really great to me. This is very much the illustration of a trust fall. It's kind of like she looks perfectly content. There's even a little bird sort of helping her here, her little companion, trying to hold her up a little. She has the umbrella, and the umbrella is yellow with little white roses on it, or little white flowers. Let me just bring that up so you can see. Which I think is a very clever use of the symbology in the from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. But I love this. I love how, again, that trust fall vibe to this is awesome. I love this magician. They feel very gender neutral to me, which I think is pretty cool. And we still have the as above, so below, the lemniscate, and the tools. So holding the wand, the pencil in this case is the wand, which I think is awesome. Pencil or pen. We have a stack of coins, the cup, and the sword. Love the third eye. This is the same image from the cover of the box. Here with the third eye open. For the High Priestess, we have the pomegranate curtain behind her, the crescent moon, and a hint of the sea, and she's holding a book. Instead of black and white pillars, we have the black and white of her hair. She also has a triple goddess symbol at her throat here on her necklace, which I think is awesome. I love it. I love that the Empress looks kind of voluptuous, which is awesome. I love that she has a little dog with her. Can we just? The Field of Wheat. It looks to me like I'm imagining she's drinking a mimosa. And she still has the star symbology here, but it's on her necklace instead of being a crown. I think that just is a little bit more relatable, so I love that. And there is a little nest with a few little eggs right here in the front. I also love that she's sitting on what looks to be a more comfortable seat. Love that. Love, love, love. This Emperor seems to be in a very orderly room. We have the sword and shield behind, giving that sense of like sort of being willing to battle or having battled. But he has a cane draped across his or against his leg, which can speak to, you know, a mobility aid is great to see in a modern tarot, so I love that. Love the like sort of rich red of his seat, which it's kind of cool to see that both the Empress and the Emperor are on that color red. It sort of, to me, speaks to the rulership. Love that. This is so fantastic to me. I really enjoy this Hierophant. It has a religious connotation if you're looking for that or if you want that in the card. But to me, what stands out is this passing down of knowledge from somebody older to somebody younger, or just from one person to another even, not even older to younger. And in a way, if you look closely, this figure here is wearing a wedding band, or at least that's what it looks like to me, a ring on the ring finger of the left hand, which is interesting to me. So there's a number of ways you could interpret this card, but I like the idea of the passing of knowledge. This is a sweet lovers. I love how they're looking in each other's eyes and they each have a hand on each other's heart. But what really jumps out at me from this lovers is the yin-yang symbol hanging here on the wall behind them, just beside the window. This is so lovely to me because it really speaks to that balance and harmony we're looking for in a relationship of equals, and also could speak to choice. We can get into darkness and light. We can get into choosing the path that's right for us here with that symbol. And we still have the flames and the apples from the traditional card. This chariot to me is so incredible. I've seen chess being used for the King of Swords, but I don't know that I've ever seen it used for the chariot, and it's so perfect. Because when you think about chess, or if you've ever played chess or watched people play chess, really the moves that they make are based on looking far ahead in the game and where they want to get. So they're usually mentally, they're many moves ahead, and then they're making the move right now that's going to take them to that distance move that final destination they're trying to get to. What's really great about that for the chariot is it's that look into the distance and that remaining focused on doing the individual smaller steps to get you to that bigger goal. I freaking love this analogy so much. Works really well, and I love all the yellow behind our central figure here. What a fantastic strength card. There's so many things that I love about this card. One of the things that jumped out at me right away is we have this grandma here, and behind her is a picture, I'm assuming from her youth, because she looks to be wearing the same jacket, which I think is really a clever tie-in so that you don't miss that that's her. And that's obviously her having climbed a mountain and like sort of posing proudly at the peak. And so you get this idea that she is strong and has proven her strength through the years. But then also you see her with this like wily grandchild, and she's got this, like the child has this stuffed lion. So you get the sort of wildness of the strength card and the fact that she's sort of gentling that wild or taming that wild to some degree. And it's such a clever look at this card. I just really, really enjoy this. I gotta admit, I really love a cozy hermit. Like a hermit, like if I'm gonna look at a modern hermit card, I definitely want to see them in like a dimly lit room with a good book, or in this case, meditating. I really love the imagery. I also really love that this particular hermit has taken their laptop and put it in this cage and locked it away while they meditate, which is, I think, a pretty incredible way to show how they are intentionally coming into that heart space. I also think it's really cool how this light is casting a shadow on the wall behind them, but it's illuminating the glow, like a green glow where their heart is, which would, to me, indicate a sort of lighting up of the heart chakra through this hermit work that they're doing, this meditative work. I just think it's a really well thought out card. The Wheel of Fortune, the cycles of day and night. We have the sands and the hourglass here showing. This has got the vibe of just time always being turning, including these little arrows showing that cycle. So this really focuses on the cyclical nature of the wheel, which I personally enjoy when I'm reading. And justice here feels very literal. I like that we have a white and a dark, like a light and a dark bowl for the scale. And we also have this certificate or degree behind this person. So we get this idea of sort of the red tape and the legality, or the, what do you want to call it? The sort of social structure of justice, as well as the actual action of justice here. So you can read it in either way, which I appreciate. There's also a lit up eye right in the center of the scales, which I think is pretty great. This Hanged Man took me a minute, but what it actually is this figure is on the ceiling. So we're seeing this really trippy, like, so there's their room and they're up here, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if I love this or not. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, I think it's clever, but because this deck is otherwise fairly literal, at least so far. I mean, I guess with the exception of the Fool is not terribly literal, I suppose. But I know there's other cards coming up that aren't as literal, but it definitely shows this idea of flipping the perspective, like looking at things a different way. And I think it's super cool that in the background here, you have two examples. I'm pretty sure this is an example too, but I know this is an example of a popular sort of optical illusion where when you look at it one way, especially when you look at it this way, it doesn't look like much. But when you flip it upside down, is it a cup or is it two faces, right? It's two faces to me, but yeah, so you get that kind of like optical illusion artwork on the wall. And I think this is meant to do the same thing. Yeah, like, is this the roots and this is the treetop? Or, you know, and then there's even a butterfly, which could be viewed differently upside down. So yeah, it's just really, really clever for that illustration. I do really love the moth in this death card and the dark moon behind her, or ahead of her, I guess. I like that there's a bit of sensuality here, and also this sort of element of sort of coming up out of some sort of like sludge or the deep, or I don't know how I view this, but it's really, it makes me pause and think of the magic of it, which I always really appreciate when that happens. This is so great. It's tea. It's chamomile tea from the look of it, because it looks like there's little chamomile flowers in the teacup. Temperance here is really great. It's calm. We're right at the point between day and night here, at either daybreak or sunset, depending on how you want to view it. We have an image of the aligned chakras and some wings in the background, so we kind of have some familiar imagery, but we're actually doing the act of making tea, which can be an act of temperance. Love that. This is such a great contrast to the Lover's card in this deck. So the Lover's card shows the two figures with their hand on each other's heart, in harmony, in balance. And here we see that they've gone out of balance. There's a cigarette burning in the ashtray, and they're sort of chained to their life or their situation, and they've got their hand in each other's hearts. So it's gone to this place of sort of enmeshment, out of that healthy balance place and into this place where it's just not good. So they need to be able to find their way out of it. I just think that's a really interesting depiction. It's one of the things, this combined with the modern take on this and some of the other cards like the Tower coming up, could make this a really good deck for looking at like big picture relationship kind of things, depending on the question and the context. This Tower, though, is pretty confronting. It's a wedding cake, and the figures are kind of falling apart. This is kind of the thing, though. Towers feel like this. Even when they're smaller things, they can feel really, really upsetting. I'm not sure, looking at this, and as I'm sort of thinking and talking and recording, I'm not sure if almost, as much as I just said, oh, this would make such a great relationship deck, but then I'm looking at this and I'm like, but if I'm reading for a client and these cards come up about the relationship, I tend to read these cards contextually based on the reading and the energy of the reading. So more, maybe intuitively is a better way to express it. This doesn't leave as much room, I think, for the querent to look at it in a neutral way. And so it's interesting to me, something I'll be thinking about as I go through. Here we have the Star. I love the peace here. I love the calm. I love that the sort of this watery vibe is sort of swirling around her. It's as if she's being embraced by spirit here with this gorgeous star in the sky. I really, really enjoy this image. And the distortion of the reflection of the moon is perfect to me. It's just a bit of Rider-Waite-Smith, but she's disturbed by this distortion, right? And it's because we're not seeing things quite clearly. But there's also an opportunity here to go into the water, which I think is a great representation of the moon card. You gotta love a sun card with a carousel. Kid on a carousel. I love this. There's this element of being in a safe space. We're on this like adorable, I mean, it's an adorable unicorn carousel. So like no complaints. Love it. Love that the kid's super happy. This is amazing to me. This is so, so amazing to me. The idea of sort of burning, sort of dissolving the ropes that bind us as a depiction of judgment, the idea of sort of freedom and moving into a space of more expansion in your life. I just think that's a really beautiful representation. And the world crossing the finish line on this like sort of like world shaped, this reminds me of Mario Kart, you know, some of the crazy maps in Mario Kart, I'm just saying. But I love this. I love the ribbon of the world, and then she's crossing the finish line. And then there's also a little world on this figure's tank top, and it's like she's crossing the world, but she's still got more journeys to go on. And anybody that you know, if you ever know, well, let me back up. If you know somebody who races, who runs and competes, like, or at least runs in like formal races, you'll know that there's always another race on the horizon. So I think it's a great analogy. Into the cups. This is so cute with the little fireworks going off and like the overflowing like champagne, it looks like. Love that. We do see another wedding ring. And again, it's like, as I'm going through, I'm hesitating because I'm like, I wonder if it's if we're seeing that too much. Like, where did I also see a wedding ring that I was like, it was a weird place? The Hierophant was another place where I noticed a wedding ring. Now, this could be really good if you're the type of reader who gets questions about like long-term potential, then you could actually look for that as a bit of an Easter egg in the cards to see, okay, yeah, the symbol of the ring could show some long-term potential for sure. It's just interesting. I really enjoy this three-legged race, like the cooperation element of this Two of Cups, and especially here because it seems like it's less focused on romance and more focused on a connection where you're working together and you're sort of harmonizing in that moment. I think that's a neat way to sort of flip the script on this card a bit. And I love this. This is fantastic. This Three of Cups, it literally looks like they're at a pride festival or something, or a pride party. I love this sort of like, this feels like drag queen elements, like, to me. Everybody looks like they're having an amazing time, but everybody's so different, which is something I definitely appreciate in the Three of Cups, is everybody being different. I have less, I shouldn't say I have less interest in, but I enjoy Three of Cups less when the three figures featured in the card all look very similar. Because I like that element of sort of bringing something different. Even just these three cups, each one has a different level of fullness. So they're each drinking their beer at like a different pace, you know? Oh, this Four of Cups. She's like staring at these empty cans, looking all despondent. But there's a new message waiting. Oh, that's so cute. Five of Cups. We have a similar vibe, right? Here we see somebody who's like sort of lamenting. There's a lot of alcohol. I've just realized in this deck. I feel like there's like beer and champagne, and here we have cocktails. So he's like drinking shots, it looks like, and somebody's behind him offering him some more drinks. Actually, yeah, interesting. It's funny because I was so stoked to get this in, and as I'm flipping through, I'm like, okay, I love it. I think it's really creative, but there's just a few little things that I'm kind of like, I don't know yet. Here we have the Six of Cups. I love the looking at a Polaroid image. I think that's great. I just like the idea of memories and going down memory lane with this card, so I love when that's depicted very clearly. Ah, yes. This Seven of Cups looks a lot more worried, and this reminds me of somebody who's like in high school and thinking about what life's going to look like for them in the future. Again, we see a wedding ring as one of the options. We see a car keys rather. We see a little love message, some money. I almost feel like this deck has like a relationship bent, like a love reading bent, which I wasn't quite expecting. More alcohol. Maybe it's just the style of cup. Maybe I'm just judging the style of cup. But here we have a bunch of cups spilled over, the person walking away, classic Eight of Cups style imagery there. And the Nine of Cups. Okay, so see, I'm still getting this like college, like frat party vibe now. Like the more that I look at this, the more I'm like, this is feeling like, yeah, like 20-something college life so far. We'll see if it changes, but this Nine of Cups is still great. She's got all of these, like, what is this exactly? Oh, this is like, yeah, see, this is like a college board, because I think it even says class in the background here. It looks like a message board, you know, kind of. I don't know. That looks like a message board to me. But then we see some weights from working out in the back. We've got lots of water and tea and coffee and all kinds of containers in front of her. And she looks like she's taking a picture of herself in the mirror. Like she's very satisfied with her life and with herself, and she feels good about herself. I think that's pretty obvious. There's a lot of emotional contentment here. It definitely works. But I'm having a hard time now suddenly shaking the 20-something vibe I'm suddenly getting from this deck. So here we have the Ten of Cups. Love this. Love the rainbow. Love the happy family. This is so cute. I love her. Look at, she's carrying, she looks like she's at a concert or something, and she's holding one of those love you, it looks like a lit up love you sign that she can hold up at the concert, like of whoever she's fangirling over. Look how cute she is. Oh, I like that. Again, still getting that 20-something vibe. Oh no. Knight of Cups. He's a charmer, hey? He's got the roses, the golden goblet, all charm. This is fantastic. I love how the wave is coming up and sort of on this Queen of Cups. It's sort of crashing against her, and she's got her closed cup here, but she's got her painting. I love the lighting and the scene in this card. Oh my God, the King of Cups has a puppy. What? This is fantastic. This is great. He looks like he's actually like a music manager, like some kind of, what do you call those? Producer, like a music producer. But he's got a puppy. He's talking to maybe one of his assistants or like an artist that he works with. He looks very relatable, kind of approachable, but the puppy with the hand on his chin is like everything. Okay, so we're into the Pentacles. We have the opportunity of the Ace. This works great. The big wide open doors. I think that's really good. This Two of Pentacles, which ice cream do you lick because they're both melting, is fan-freaking-tastic. I love this. This makes me happy. The Three of Pentacles. Oh, look at this. They're working together to like remix a song maybe, or play with the arrangement. I love this collaborative effort, and I love that we're seeing some non-stereotypical maybe instruments here. That's cool. This Four of Pentacles with this dude hugging his piggy bank as it cracks because he's squeezing it so hard with all of the change in other jars surrounding all locked up. That's very intense. It's a very intense Four of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles, counting your change. Oh, this is so sad. The little cat sort of, you know, rubbing up against him, being like, it's going to be okay. We're going to work it out. It's fine. But there's all these people behind. Aw, that's sad. The Six of Pentacles. This could have been, I think, there could have been more done with this card. I feel like this is good. It's fine. But it feels kind of pippish compared to how scenic all the other cards are. In fact, the only other place we see this very similar in the Hierophant is kind of similar, right, to this, which I guess does make sense. And we get the idea that it's one hand helping another hand. Like, so we're, you know, you're getting a helping hand. It works, but I don't know. I kind of want more, I think, in that one. The Seven, this is great. This to me makes me think of savings and the way that you like invest your money and then you kind of have to wait and wait and wait for your money to grow. That's what this feels like with the calendar pages kind of coming away in the background. So far, I'm still getting that real young vibe. Eight of Pentacles. I like this. This person working hard, perfecting their work. In this case, he's a leather worker, which I think is really cool. So he's using the tool that puts the little holes in the leather so that it can then be stitched through those holes. I think that's pretty cool. I like that. She looks like she's in a happy place. This is the Nine of Pentacles, and it looks like she's got some kind of product perhaps that she sells stacked up behind her. So she works hard for her money, and she's here enjoying a really decadent little afternoon tea with some macarons and some fresh fruit and some little nibbles. That's adorable. I love that. Here we have the Ten of Pentacles. I like when we clearly see sort of the idea of generations. That's pretty neat. Okay, I am all about a Page of Pentacles with a lemonade stand or a newspaper route or any kind of other young person being like resourceful and like working to get what they want. I think that's a really great analogy for this card. The Knight of Pentacles, he is going somewhere, but he's not in a huge rush. He's walking his bicycle, maybe in an area where he doesn't need to be like riding, just sort of enjoying the journey, but he's still guarding his pentacle, so that works well. Yes, I love a Queen of Pentacles cooking. Love, love, love. Love it when they're cooking because I see the Queen of Pentacles as that person that's going to like take care of others in a very tangible way. So make sure that you're comfortable, that you're warm, that you have enough to eat. They're very grounded in that way, and I just think that's a great depiction. But she has lots of resources up in the cabinets above. She's not worried, but she's going to make some healthy food here for whoever she's caring for. Yeah, see, this Queen and King, they feel really young, right? Don't they feel young? That's the thing that's hitting me that I didn't notice when I scooped this one up. So here we have the King of Pentacles sipping his wine and overlooking. You get this kind of idea of overlooking one's domain, but in a really like modern, fresh kind of way. He's wearing slippers, which I think is great. Love this Ace of Swords with the chains breaking. This is amazing. I love this. Let me just bring this card up so you can see that. I love that because to me, the Ace of Swords is a breakthrough of sorts, right? So it's like things we're kind of breaking through, getting that clarity. I like how it's piercing the darkness, kind of bringing the light. I think that's awesome. I love that ace. This is cool. So Two of Swords, we're sort of deciding which card are we going to play, or she's trying to figure out which card to play. It looks like perhaps in a solitaire game. Yeah, it might be a solitaire game. So she's trying to figure out which card to play, but she's got the cards too close to her face to be able to actually really look at them and figure out which card to put where. So there's a bit of like blinding herself, like not zooming out enough, being too close to the details to really be able to do what she needs to do. This Three of Swords is so poignant because to me, it's all about learning lessons the hard way, right? And here this person has dropped a mug, they've spilled, and she's in there with the super glue trying to put it back together and she's crying, right? And that's what the Three of Swords kind of feels like. It's the emotion, but it's learning that lesson, trying to learn it the hard way. I love a bath card, especially in the Four of Swords. To me, that totally works. She's got her sword at the ready, all of them, but she's in the bath, right? So she's having a rest. That's really nice. I like that. This Five of Swords, the sort of sore winner vibe. That's interesting. There's a cup spilled in the background too. So you can kind of get the feeling of like the feelings that may have been hurt in the process, which is an interesting take. Six of Swords, putting the storm behind you. The swords are in the box, in the car with you. Neat. Seven of Swords. Making a call from a phone booth. Do those even exist anywhere anymore? I'm asking for a friend. I'm just curious because I don't think I've seen any. Anyways, they're making a call from a phone booth. Their face is covered. They've got a mask and some swords. This is looking some nefariousness right now. Oh, this is an interesting Eight of Swords. This reminds me of like mimes, or like that idea of being in an invisible box and you feel really trapped and contained, but like there's a clear way out above. You just have to look. I like the Eight of Swords. I like seeing that there's a way out. You just have to like, you know, it may not be as obvious right away. Nine of Swords with the sleepless night. Looks like there might even be a bottle of something like sleeping pills or something next to her. Okay, why are we stabbing a teddy bear? That's what I want to know. Why in the Ten of Swords is a teddy bear being stabbed? Why? Is that really necessary? I don't think it is. Personal opinion. Anyway, so we have a stabbed teddy bear, but there is a little seed or something that's in his head. So it's starting to grow, and we have the sun, of course, coming up. So the symbology is definitely there. The Page of Swords. She looks a little gossipy, eh? Just a little bit. But definitely is the talker, is going to be asking all the questions, perhaps sometimes getting on people's nerves, but she just wants to know everything. Love the speed in this Knight of Swords. I think that's awesome. I love that there's a rocket taking off in the background. That's kind of cool. Just looks very, very fast here. Love the self-assured, sort of confident energy here of the Queen of Swords. I think it's interesting that there is some emotion here, but it's mostly covered up. Like it's spilled, but it's covered up. So there might be a little bit of emotion that leaks out for the Queen of Swords. I think that's an interesting reading point and something that could be fun if you're working with this card for client readings or something, to sort of like dip into that, or for a reading for yourself, obviously, as well. But yeah. Interesting. So this is the King of Swords. He's clearly, it looks like he's at some kind of summit. He looks like a political speaker here specifically. Like it looks like this nameplate and the way the microphones are, and even just the way his suit is, he almost gives a feeling of being some sort of political leader. But again, this King and the Queen looks so young. I haven't seen a card yet that's made me think other than college age, other than maybe the Ten of Pentacles, which of course had some, I mean, he looks like he could be older than college age, maybe. But everybody else, for real, other than this card, these are the only seniors I've seen. And even the couple here, the adult couple here, seems pretty young. I might have some feelings about that. I wasn't expecting that, but I think I'm having some feelings. So here we have the Ace of Wands. I love that it's a pen, and that it's a pen that's kind of blooming. Like it's like a tree, but it's a pen. I think that's neat. I love that. Ooh, I like that. The Two of Wands, sort of literally planning a trip, planning a vacation. There's the globe behind them. There's the computer open in front of them. All these like lists, like checklists, looks like maybe a pro-con list, or looking at different opportunities, like which place. There's also a mind map. Might not be exclusively about travel, but there's this idea of like really taking time to consider. There's an eraser on the table, passport. So lots of ways to sort of look at this card. That's fun. Oh, and then in the three, they've actually arrived at where they're going. So in this case, this person has gone to Paris. So they're looking at the Eiffel Tower. This is almost a little too far along the journey for the way I typically read this card. So going from this to this, I like to see the three as somewhere in the middle. I would actually see this more like the four if it was all about travel. That's just the way I tell story with tarot though, but that's my own stuff. And then in the four, we have this like meal, the celebratory meal of some kind. I was just trying to identify that food. I don't know why, but I was like, what is that? I want to know what that is. It looks really good. Again, I'm getting mimosa vibes here, which is super fun. But it actually looks like it's like an evening party. The Five of Wands, we have a cheerleader. We have somebody who's doing some break dancing. We have like a fitness person, a ballet person. I don't know. A disco, I don't know what that person is in the back, but they have an Elvis haircut. So very much that idea of like different personalities, like sort of mixing and blending. Again, still feels so young though. And here we have the Six of Wands being crowned Miss something or other. With all of these, you can tell this is like an Instagram live and there's all these reactions coming up. That's super cool. That's a different take for sure. I'm not a fan of this child defending themselves against dogs, particularly the child defending themselves against dogs with a stick. That just gives me some feels. Maybe I'm just too much of a dog lover for this card. I don't like it. But I get the point. I get what they're trying to do here. I love this. So the Eight of Wands is a card about like momentum and things kind of being taken, like kind of they've taken on a life of their own, but it's also very much a card about messages and messages being delivered or being received. So I really like this paper airplane because you get that speed of something being thrown and like now it's got a life of its own sort of thing. But you also have the paper folded up and the idea of messages. Like you can actually pass notes this way. So I think that's really fun. The Nine of Wands. Oh my gosh, she's got piles and piles and piles of paperwork and she's like locked in here and she's got a looming deadline. She's like 3 days away from a deadline. So there's a lot of pressure here. It's nearing the end of the day today. So like you can tell by the clock, it's like 3 o'clock or 2:45. So it's almost 3 o'clock. So it's like late in the day, lots and lots and lots of work to do. She's sweating. She's like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it. You know, you get that feeling of like, I'm never going to be able to finish this. And I almost get the feeling like she's a writer. These look like chunks of writing. She's got a crumpled up piece of paper here, another one here. What is that with the little lightning bolt on it? I don't know. Like a battery? I don't know. Maybe caffeine pills or something? It almost gives me that vibe. Really stressed looking at this card, which is the point. That is Nine of Wands energy for sure. And I like this. 10 of Wands. So he's carrying all these packages up these stairs. He's juggling. It looks like a mailman maybe, actually, because he's got this kind of almost like mailman style bag, but he's got a tie over his shoulder. So maybe that's just the way I'm looking at it. But he's lugging all this stuff up these stairs and is going to have to manage it. Page of Wands. Yes, this works with the skateboard. Very adventurous, playful. And Motorcycle Knight of Wands. We've seen this done before. It does work for me for the Knight of Wands in a modern deck. Okay, this queen is so freaking young. I can't with this. She's so young. Why is everybody so young? Okay, anyways. Queen of Wands. This does work though, right? Total Leo vibes. She's in the middle of this like circle of social media, loving the attention, loving the vibe, you know, not ashamed of herself at all. Very confident energy, which I love a confident vibe in the Queen of Wands for sure. And then the King of Wands, he's got one of those like built-in mics. You could feel like he's like an inspirational speaker. He's motivating people, which works for me for the King of Wands in the way that I see the King of Wands. So I've got this like dilemma with these cards now because I feel as though I love the way that they're interpreting the cards a lot, but I feel as though there's some that I really love a lot of the majors so much. And I wonder if I kind of got suckered in because I'm just sort of deciding here based on this. Like I love the Death card. I think that I'm just kind of sorting just to kind of get an idea for like where I think this works. That works. That works. That works. That's fun. I'm just kind of wondering where my vibes are on all of this. I love her. She's fun. Yeah, he works. I'm just going to quickly sort. Okay, I think roughly, like just first instincts, I think roughly, these are the cards that I really like, and these are the cards I'm not as fond of. But, I mean, I don't actively dislike many. I think that Seven of Wands I wasn't overly fond of. Let's give this a shuffle and see what we think of the cardstock. I've got mixed feelings about this one, and I actually didn't think I was going to. I really thought this was going to be a instant hit for me, but I feel like as I went through, I started noticing just how young everything seemed. It feels very college. I feel like if you're a little bit younger, still in the thick of sort of figuring out love and figuring out life, and you've got like I don't know, I feel this feels a little bit out of my, separate from me in a way that I don't love, which is interesting. I love me a good modern deck, but there's something about this that just feels, I love this Strength card so much. I have a feeling that because of the young vibe, I am also not fond of all the alcohol, which is going to sound so bizarre, but I do have stuff about alcohol in my family and my background, so that does make sense. It's not something I've ever noticed in tarot decks before, but yeah, like there's a bunch of these that I like. I like that how creative they are. But yeah, definitely, like the more I'm laying these down, the more I'm just seeing how young and sort of, I want to say, this is going to sound terrible, it feels a little bit like it leans more into the shallow sides of life. Not entirely, and I certainly don't mean that the deck is shallow. Maybe shallow is the wrong word. Superficial? like the surface level stuff, the visible stuff, the obvious. It's not inviting me into deeper layers, with only a few exceptions. I feel like the moon card feels like it's inviting me into deeper layers for sure. But a lot of these are very kind of almost on the nose in a way. They're not letting me, this one's also another kind of deeper one. So is this one, I feel like. But they're just not letting me, even the Hermit, they're not letting me go as deep, I think, as I like to go, which is kind of interesting thing to say, especially for a modern deck. I like that one too a lot. Yeah, I feel like the majors really won me over, and then the minors didn't quite deliver where I was hoping they would, which is, again, not to say that this is a bad deck, just to say that I'm not sure it's going to be for me. So we will have to wait and see. I will keep you guys posted for sure. But let's take a quick look at the guidebook. Let's pick one of these cards that I know I liked. Let's grab the Hermit and take a look at what it says in the guidebook. First, a quick tour. So we have our table of contents, a little bit about the deck, some spreads, a disclaimer, major arcana, information about the elements and the suits, number information, court card information, which I really like, and then we get right into the card description. So let's go to the Hermit. So here we have the Hermit here. So the keywords are introspection, isolation, and wisdom. And it says, right now your surroundings might not be the best fit for you. You can either change what's around you or what's in you. Detox yourself from the outside world. You only need your own light to guide you. The Hermit advises you to take silence. You have the ability to light up the path for someone else, but at times you must also save the light for yourself. It's time for you to take a step back from reality and stay isolated. Go inwards to find the wisdom you search for peace. This card can also mean staying single or alone for a while. Okay. So I get what they're going for there, but nothing like earth-shattering in the guidebook. It seems to me to be an incredibly well-done deck. And I think this is one of those ones that if I didn't already have some decks that have a little bit more diversity in age and experience that are depicted in the cards, that this one would probably, wow, I made this big mess and now I got to clean it up. This one would probably be one that would be top of my list very quickly. Gosh, if I'd have found this as one of my first ever tarot decks, I think it would have been perfect. So depending on where you are in your tarot journey, you can really decide for yourself if this is one that you think is going to work for you long term or not. Now, I'm going to be putting this deck through its paces, I think. So I will, like I said, definitely report back. I may really, really, really enjoy reading for it once I get out of my head about the age thing and like start to see it in a more diverse light. So we'll see. I will keep you guys posted. So keep an eye out for me to talk about this later, either in a show and tell or another deck update of some kind. So keep your eyes peeled. In the meantime, I'd love to hear what you think of this deck. Let's take a look and see how it fans. Yeah, not so bad. It's matte, so it clumps a little tiny bit, but not bad at all. Let me know what you think. So leave us a comment down below and report back in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.